And we're back, folks, right here on WWE Network and Chill. I'm Graham Jason Matthews, and right here on the show, I break down all the original programming that I watch on the WWE Network. And for the last number of episodes, and 2 more after this, we'll be breaking down Season 1 of WWE Total Divas. And today we're talking about Episode 13, entitled, Get That Chingle Chingle. You can't make this shit up. I almost vomited when I saw the title of the show. Obviously, it's named after Ariane and her awful lingo. Just the terrible, just the terrible thing she says. No swears, they might as well be swears because they're pretty fucking bad. But anyway, that's all about Ariane. We'll get to her at the end of the show. Her storyline, we'll save the worst for last. But the first one is all about Naomi, John Uso, or Trinity, whatever. Trinity, John Uso, and her father. So the show starts out with Naomi's boobs falling out of her gear backstage. I guess they're too small or something. The gear, not her boobs. But we go from that to finding out that Naomi's dad will be staying with her and John Uso in their apartment for a few days while he has a gig in that area. So she doesn't see her dad too often. She's always, appreciative. She's always happy whenever she can see him. But it's different now. She's in a relationship. They're not staying in a 5-condo house like fucking John Cena. They're not staying in a mansion. Her and John Uso are staying in a condo, apartment, whatever. Meaning it's not all that big. And John Uso is a lot like me. He likes his personal space. He does not like people. The dad's a great guy. He's very nice. He's very sweet. But he just takes up way too much room, and he just kind of takes advantage of Trinity and the fact that she always has a place to live. But it's different now because she's in a relationship, and now she only has to not only share the house with her father, but her boyfriend John Uso has to share the house with him as well. So anyway, what are we talking about here? So he stays with her and John, and John says it'd be a little different, like, if it was some random girl from middle school, or maybe she says that, and he says, well, I wish it was, and she punches him, which was pretty funny. So the dad moves in, and he keeps John up by, staying up and making sandwiches, and he bonds with Trinity, which is great. They're having some bonding time, but John cannot get to sleep, because all this guy does is stay up late and make sandwiches for his daughter. Eva, we get a quick scan of her. She gets scanned for a action figure. I put that down as a random note here because it wasn't really a storyline. But yeah, Eva gets scanned for an action figure. Natalya gets jealous. What else is new? Eva's hoping her boobs are big enough for the action figure. And she says the bigger the boobs are, the more the action figures will sell. Eva Marie, everybody. Eva Marie. So, John says, I want to get home and be naked with you. But I can't do that with your father around. Again, you can't make this shit up. That's exactly what John Uso said. If you watch the show, you'll know that's exactly something that John Uso would say. So Natalya, she kind of gets involved in the whole situation. What else is new? Again, she's always getting involved in people's situations. And she takes John's side. She thinks that he has a great point, that it's also his house too, and the father can't stay there forever. So Trinity makes the terrible decision to invite her dad's band back to her apartment. And John Uso has to get up early the next morning for the airport, for a wrestling gig, whatever, something. And he is not happy. He says either they go or I go. He's not breaking up with Trinity, but he is just going to leave. He says, I got to get to sleep, and I can't do that with 1 million people in my apartment. And again, what does she do? And she goes with the band. She says, you know what? She's like, I can't choose between my boyfriend and my father. And he's like, you know what? In that case, I'm leaving. So Trinity talks to her dad and says, I got new men in my life. I have John in my life now. It's not always going to be about you. He's number 1 and you're my 1A. So they make up, they talk it over, and that's about it for that storyline. So John and Nikki, we're back to John and Nikki, or John Cena and Nikki Bella, which is always pretty much the center focus of these shows. John and Nikki are hanging out at home. Nikki Bella's trying to redesign the house to kind of fit her vision of what the house should look like. They go out to lunch together, and she says, we got to redesign the house, to which John says, oh boy, which would be my exact reaction. When any woman would say to you, let's redesign your house, John's reaction was spot on. Oh boy. She complains about no candles because he doesn't like candles in the house. They're just too messy. John is a very OCD-like fellow. You would be surprised how OCD he is. Not, Tony Shalhoub Monk OCD, but not Tony Shalhoub Monk OCD, but he's pretty damn close in terms of what he doesn't like in his house. There's no personal photos. There's separate hampers for clothes. And he makes one of them talk, which was a bit weird, the hamper, but jokingly anyway. He has no food in his house. Nikki Bella has to go grocery shopping, so she loves John, but she's not having, the experience of her life that she that she thought that she would in living with him. Because she doesn't have anything that she likes. No candles, no photos, hampers are separate, no food allowed in the house. What's going on with here? What's going on with John Cena here? So she surprises him with a dinner, to which John acts completely unappreciative, and he says he's a lot more worried about the table and the wooden floor and everything else about the oven and everything else that she's cooking up, the marble of the kitchen table. And she's like, you know what? Fuck this. I made you dinner, and this is the one time I will side with Nikki Bella. More often than not, if it involves Nikki and John Cena, I will side with John Cena. I feel like I'm a lot like him. And I'm a lot like him in this respect, too, that I wouldn't want people messing with my stuff. But it's his girlfriend, and he did a very nice thing. She did a very nice thing in making dinner for him. And he's a lot more worried about the marble than he is the food. So she gets pissed, and rightfully so. John Cena goes to talk to his good friend, and the friend says, if you don't want anyone to mess with their stuff, basically don't interact with anyone else ever, which goes back to the old slogan that if you don't want anyone to be talking about you, if you want everyone to like you, pretty much don't say anything, don't do anything, don't be anything. And he's pretty much repeating that same mantra in terms of if you want everything to be your way, then don't interact with anyone else. It's kind of harsh, but he makes a great point. So John turns his life around, so to speak, surprises Nikki with candles and flowers, and they make up, probably have go sex or whatever, which is pretty much always the end game with these two, specifically Nikki. But so they make up, as always. Ariane, and here comes the title of the show, get that chingle chingle. She goes to record a new album, which is awful, by the way. The Girl Bye album. I had to force my ears to stop bleeding when listening to her sing on this show. And she asked Vinny, what the fuck are you got going on right now? I'm doing all this stuff from wrestling. I'm recording a shitty album. She didn't say shitty, but I'll, say that for her. What do you got going on right now, Vinny? How about you come to the Performance Center for a tryout for NXT? And he's like, I don't really know. It's not really for me. And she's like, you're going to do it. Trust me. You're going to do it. I'm going to make you do it. It's a great opportunity. He's like, I don't know if it's really for me. So, again, she's kind of forcing Vinny to do this. She gets a call from Bill DeMott. Bill DeMott says it's on. Sorry, I just dropped my hat there for a second. And so the workout is intense. If you've watched Tough Enough or basically anything involving the PC ever, you'll know that the workouts they do are fucking tough. You got to commend them for the shit they do in the ring, but also the stuff they do to get prepared to be inside the ring, including their extraneous workouts and whatnot. He doesn't do well. Vinny sucks. His cardio is awful. He has a lot of bruises. And yet it's the second day tryout, surprisingly enough. He cries after the end of it. He cannot get through it. And he just gets very emotional. And he wants to open up a hockey bar. Not hockey, a hookah bar? Hookah bar? Hookah bar, I think it was what he said. And that's his dream, not wrestling. So Ariane kind of forced him into doing it. She felt bad about it. She apologized. Blah, 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 blah. They all make up. They make out, have sex, and they all make up, whatever. So that is Total Divas, episode 13 of season 1 of the show. To get that chingle, if I never have to say that title again, I'll be very happy with my life. But yeah, of course, the next 2 episodes, we got 2 episodes left, people. 2 episodes left of WWE Network and Chill. And they're covering the final 2 episodes of Total Divas. And this is where the real shit heats up. Shit's about to get real, people. So tune in for the next 2 episodes of WWE Network and Chill right here on the channel. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.